So, this is my week 2 reflection. Yes, week 2 already. It feels like it's going very fast. Let's just get straight into it. Might as well. So, for the Wednesday, it was a very, it was a chill week. However, you know, we had some stuff to do. It was a bit stressful, but I got done what I needed to get done. So, the first things first, we were introduced into something called the Born sequence, where we had to recreate, which basically we had to recreate the scene and some of the actions within the scene. We was all put into a group initially, like a big group, but it's quite hard to navigate a lot of people, so we broke off into groups of 3. I was with Pluto, Jackie and Billy, and I was the cameraman. Pluto was one of the actors as well as Billy, and Jackie was the director. So we all worked together in order to create the sequence. I had a lot of fun doing it, to be honest. It was quite funny. We put a sort of a comedic twist onto it, as we do with a lot of the group projects, because it's always fun to film comedy because you have a good time doing it, and you always have a good outcome if you know how to shoot comedy, if that makes sense. And also because we're following a video timeline, all you really have to do is put the sequence in the way it's supposed to look in the editing, so it's quite easy and it's quite fun to film, like a little break from coursework. So that was one of the things that we did on Wednesday. One of the other things that I did, which was mainly like solo, was I did a bit of website design for my FMP website. I made a new template. I had a bit of trouble with it, to be honest. It was quite irritating trying to learn how to use a certain template. I wanted to have a different template, different vibe for my FMP project. However, it didn't go to plan, so I scrapped the first idea, and then I went onto my old template and I just created a new format using the drop down menus, etc., because I knew how to use them and I'd been using them for a while, and I didn't really want to stress myself out too much when doing everything else. So I thought simplistic website design, and I know how to use it, so it's a lot easier. So I just focused on adding some drop down menus, making sure all my categories were in check and I had all the categories that I needed for the project. I then started brainstorming some ideas, just like throwing some stuff around, very like vague sort of ideas about the FMP and what I want to do and what I don't want to do. It was quite good. It gave me a few like ideas, like hearing what other people had to say as well. Like we did some secondary research, just like asking a few people in the class what they thought of the idea, and it helped me like it's helped me get a gauge for what I want, if that makes sense. So that was the Wednesday. So for the Thursday, I started off by just refining my website a bit more, making it look a bit more professional, by adding a few more drop down menus, creating like the text that I wanted, as well as the sort of theme with the colours, etc. I completely finished the website on day 2, which of this week, which is Thursday. Completely finished the website because I just wanted to get it done and dusted so that I could just keep adding stuff to it, so I wasn't behind and I wasn't falling behind, because that happens quite a lot when you're doing projects. You can fall behind quite quickly if you're not on top of everything. And then I started refining my ideas. So what I did was I sort of brainstormed four ideas the day before, and I picked like 4 or 5 ideas, and I picked the top 4 that I liked, and I started sort of creating a mood board slightly in my head of how I wanted them to look, and I just wrote them down in order to have them just on paper. And then I also did a little bit of research into each category, just so I could get a feel for how I wanted the video to look, so that I've got a wide variety of stuff that I can do, so I'm not just sort of like directing all my attention to one sort of project. So I've got a bit of variety in there. So I was enjoying that. I did a bit of brainstorming, wrote some stuff down, like a spider diagram, whatever came to mind, just sort of chucked it in there. So that was basically my Thursday, just sort of like researching into the ideas, etc. So on the Friday, I decided to do a lot more research and go a little bit more in depth regarding the ideas that I had. So I came up with a fitness idea for a clothing brand that I'm potentially starting. So like I wanted to do like a sort of sports advert like Nike do, and they have like fast action B-roll clips, make it like really cinematic and just something fun and easy to watch, and also easy to make, because a lot of adverts, it's especially like sports stuff, is quick, fast movements, short cuts, a lot of motion within the camera. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how I could develop that idea. The other three ideas were a horror sequence, like a virtual reality sequence where the viewer puts the headset on and they sort of see in first person as a character gets tormented through a location by other people. It's a very rough idea. However, I do like the concept of having the VR headset on and sort of experiencing it for yourself. My third idea was a fashion sort of inspired video where I'd go around London and do something like sort of develop my diversity idea. However, have a lot more photography, street photography based in the project, and sort of film off of that, like have a GoPro strapped to my chest and just see all the like, behind the scenes of the final product and make it just look really cool and capture the fashion within London a little bit more, and make the video a little bit longer. And then my final idea was a sort of like a carry-on from a project I did previously, which is called The Butcher. It was part of my Kubrick project for year one. I want to sort of like make it better, make it more cinematic, make the sound design better, the color grading, everything like that. Just make the sequence better using a different character as well as a different cast and a different location, just to show how my skills have developed from what they were to what they are now, and sort of just refine my skill set in the process. So yeah, that was my week 2 weekly reflection. I hope you enjoyed listening to me waffle for about 10 minutes. Yeah, it was quite good. It was a very productive week, and I sort of have now like a baseline for what I want to do for my 4 things, and I've added them to my blog as like 4 little separate ideas so that whoever wants to go on blogs can see what I'm thinking about. So yeah, that was my week 2 reflection. I hope you enjoyed.